Country. Broncos country. All right. What is going on? Hope you guys are having a wonderful start to the second day of free agency. Y'all let me know, who do you want the Broncos to target today? Maybe we get a tight end, maybe we get a wide receiver, but I think that this is pretty interesting news that Miles Sanders has been released by the Carolina Panthers. Of course, they got like a handful of running backs. Chuba Hubbard is definitely their top running back right now. They drafted the kid Jonathan Brooks from Texas last year. Tore his ACL, I think, this year, which sucks, but I guess they're expecting him to be back, and they can probably draft another running back to help round out that stable of running backs that they got. But Miles Sanders, I think, would be a tremendous addition here for our Broncos. And it's not saying much because I think we had the worst running back room in the NFL this past year. But I think for the deal that I think he would sign, probably a 1-year deal to try and improve his stock again going into his age 28 season. I think that he would be a tremendous signing. Maybe you sign him for around $4 million or something like that. But provides not only a guy that can still provide some elusiveness in the backfield. He can still make guys miss, but also a good route runner as well. And I think somebody that Bo Nix and Sean Payton could utilize in the passing game. And if nothing goes according to plan, and for some reason, like you miss out on maybe Ashton Genty or Amarian Hampton, Miles Sanders provides, somebody that can give you a spot start, I think, every now and then. Or say you got a guy go down to injury, he can be a really solid complementary back. I think a higher end complementary back, and a guy, again, that can spot start if needed. But I think he raises the floor of this room. I think, hey, you saw Najee Harris sign a 1-year, $9.25 million deal with the Chargers to try and boost his stock. And I would imagine that that Miles Sanders wants to do something very, very similar. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and get into your guys' comments here in just a moment. I do want to break down some Miles Sanders, show off some film that I saw, of him just perusing YouTube shorts and stuff like that, go through his stats, all that. Y'all be sure, join the chat, leave some questions for me, like and subscribe. Let me know who you want the Broncos to target. But first off, let's go ahead and get into the statistics right here. Miles Sanders, 5'11", 210, has great size for a running back, and he can do it all. This year averaged 3.7 yards per carry, which isn't great, guys. But let's just remember, Carolina, man, not the greatest offense right now. And I think if you put him behind a better offensive line, he'll be even better. Like, Javonte Williams was 3.7 yards a carry with our fantastic offensive line. So I think you can definitely get better numbers out of Miles Sanders behind this offensive line. Second round pick, yeah, out of Penn State. And he's somebody that is going to be able to do well in the passing game as well, like pass blocking too. But this past year, 2.51 or 2.51 yards after contact. That's whatever. But 24 receptions on the year, which I'd love to see that. And again, he's been in the NFL for like 5-6 years now. Veteran guy that I think would be, maybe you sign Miles Sanders, you draft a Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, Devin Neal, somebody like that. Miles Sanders can be that number 2 back. And then we also draft a guy on day 3 like Rashard Smith or LaQuint Allen, somebody like that. And so you got 3 really talented running backs, and then we'll see what happens with Audric Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin. But I would love to sign Miles Sanders as part of like a new 3-headed monster coming into Denver. And I mean, you might say, well, he's washed, he's got fumble issues. Well, hey, that's why you sign him to a cheap 1-year deal, maybe incentive-based. If he stays healthy again, coming out here to Denver, I think he has a much higher probability of staying healthy. And again, we just don't have a running back that can do this. Hopefully this doesn't demonetize me. But, I mean, just watch this route from Miles Sanders, okay? We don't got a guy that can – we don't. We don't got a guy that can do this. And or getting in the flats, but somebody that truly can be a vertical threat out of the backfield when you need him to be. And you might say, well, we can get a guy in the draft that can do this. I agree. Why not have multiple guys that can do it, though? That's always advantageous. Good Lord. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Mine, better offense, better offensive line. And honestly, working with a guy like Sean Payton who knows how to get the most out of his guys, for the most part. For the most part, we do have some questions with the running back rotation, right? But I think Sanders, man, he'd be a really fun addition. He can bring it, man, in the pass game, which I think is really, really important. So watch a couple more of these, man. Carolina saved like $5 million cutting him, which is, probably a good decision with Chuba Hubbard now as their running back one. But again, I think you could bring him in here as somebody who, again, look how he just gets downfield. Dude, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is still what he's showing right now in Carolina. This isn't his Philadelphia days, obviously. But a guy that can get downfield. Imagine if Bo Nix is rolling out and then he's going downfield like that. Man, he beat my guy, Jack Sanborn. What the heck? I think Miles Sanders should be a target. Now, Rico Dowdle, he's somebody that I'm still really interested in. Ty Johnson, you could say Ty Johnson could be brought in even cheaper. Well, I think Miles Sanders probably brings you a little bit more in the traditional rushing category of things, compared to a Ty Johnson, right? But there were a couple run plays here that I want to show. I mean, he's still got it. He's still got it to an extent. And he can still make guys miss. Something again, I hope Javonte Williams, rebounds in Dallas for his sake, but check this out. This is an end around. Okay. He's over here. Chuba Hubbard's in the backfield. Or you can do like a jet sweep with him. That's like what this is. See, you can still run that kind of stuff with him. Just another versatile weapon for Sean Payton. Somebody, yeah, you can line up in the slot. He can run routes out of the slot, not just end around. I mean, you saw that with the first two clips that I showed you. Will he be healthy for 17 games? Very rarely is everybody healthy for 17 freaking games. It's a long season, but can we get a nice portion of the season out of a guy like Miles Sanders? I think so. And I just think he would be tremendous for also helping our running backs develop as well. But man, these are the kinds of weapons that I want in Denver. I know Miles Sanders, he's kind of a meme. It's maybe not as much of a meme as like Najee Harris is to some of y'all, right? But he's better than everybody that we've had, to be honest. Why not bring in a guy that can still do some of these things from time to time, man? And I don't think he's going to be overly expensive. Again, Carolina just moved off of him to save $5 million. And hey, Miles Sanders, how about you get yourself back to a situation, honestly, where the backfield's wide open? Not Justin Simmons. Look at that. Showing vision to cut back. But I would like it, man. I would like it. Yeah, he had 55 rushing attempts this past year. So, again, it's not anything sexy. He did raise his yards per average or attempt this past year from 3.3 in 2023 to 3.7. Had a couple touchdowns, one fumble last year. That is something that you do got to kind of watch with Miles Sanders. Again, why I don't think he's going to be getting big money. But possible third down back, I think, is really, really interesting. And a veteran back you can bring in here. I'm trying to pull up his pass blocking. All right, gave up 1 sack. That was week 1. But then after that, gave up 3 pressures, 2 hurries. And again, on the receiving front, he had 148 yards on 24 receptions. 24 receptions. That's awesome. So y'all let me know, man. Am I crazy for wanting a guy like Miles Sanders? Let's see if Spot Track has this updated to where they can estimate maybe with some of these crazy contracts what his value is. I mean, he was getting paid. His average annual value was $6.3 million. Oh, man, I got to sign in again to Spot Track. I forgot my password. I'll do that later. But anyways, guys, I'll get to some of your comments. Let me know who you would like us to sign. I mean, bring in Miles Sanders. Come on now. I think that would be great. Y'all smash that like. Let's get to it. Big E Bronco, what's going on, man? Hope you're having a wonderful day. We got 132 people in here. Good Lord. Yeah, y'all be sure to subscribe if you want to chat with me and all your other favorite Broncos creators. Get the Discord. Links in the description somewhere. David, what's going on, man? What's your grade on the 2 signings? It's an A+ if both stay healthy. That's exactly how I see it. How can you hate Hufanga and Greenlaw? Let's just keep them healthy. They're both young. And guys, I didn't even notice this until I was listening to a Jets podcast last night. You know how we all wanted Jermaine Sherwood? He had an Achilles tear like 3 years ago. Interesting. And he got big money from the Jets at inside linebacker, right? So if he can recover and look plenty fast, I mean, this past year, surely Greenlaw can still rebound and have a really good career. Surely that means Drew Sanders still has some hope, right? I think it's great. Our defense, man, with DJ Jones, too, was seeing the other deals that some of these other guys got. I mean, Tershawn Wharton got a ton of money. He got like $18 million a year from Carolina, man, as a part-time player. Now, he'll definitely start for that kind of money over at Carolina. But, man, DJ Jones, again, I think that was a fine signing with what we're seeing some of these other defensive tackles that were not as good. What Marquee Sports, hard disagreeing with me, saying, I don't know. I don't see Miles Sanders as an upgrade from any of our backs. I see him as an upgrade over Jaleel. I see him as an upgrade over Audric Estime. But, we've barely seen any Audric Estime. So it's kind of like I've at least seen what Miles Sanders can do over his career. How much of the cap is left? That's tough, David, because we haven't seen a lot of like the contract details outside of like the guarantees put in. But in Spot Track, they have updated at least Stidham's cap hit for this year, so that it's only $4 million for Jarrett Stidham this year. We'll see what DJ Jones and the 49ers guys come in at. But right now, our cap situation before those guys is looking to be, I think, around 35, 36 million. My guess is that we still probably have 10 to 15 million to mess with. And that's even before a Zach Allen extension or a Cortland Sutton extension or, cutting somebody like Alex Singleton. It seems like, like a lot of Broncos country just wants us to cut Alex Singleton, man, and we sign somebody else. So I don't know, man, but there's still plenty of ways we can still open up more money. I think we're in a really good spot right now with our cap. We can definitely make a few more signings this week. But maybe I can change my well, that's okay. We don't have to agree, Marky. I can be a Miles Sanders stan, and you can be a Miles Sanders hater. It's all good. Fanatic Dad, good to see you, man. I'd kick the tires on Miles Sanders. Carolina's been a dumpster fire as a whole. I'd bring him in as a solid vet. Don't have to be a running back one. Exactly. That's how I see it. He can be your second or third running back. And I don't think he would get in the way of, if we draft again, somebody in the first 3 rounds in the draft, of them like becoming the starter, right? And you're not going to be paying him big money. I got a question for y'all. If you could get Rico Dowdle on a 2-year deal, or Miles Sanders on a 1-year deal, who would y'all rather have? I imagine Rico Dowdle would still get a little bit more money, right? So 1-year cheaper deal for Miles Sanders, a little bit more expensive, longer term commitment maybe with Rico Dowdle. I'm curious, what would you guys want to do? I think, hey, if you guys are a big fan of this draft class at the running back position, drafting 2 running backs, we don't need anything more than a 1-year deal, right? We don't. Hey, busiest man in Broncos content. Hey, I try and stay busy. We'll see how it goes. I'm a tank, and today's the first day of Buffs spring practice, so I'm now motivated. I'm now excited to do some more Buffs videos. You guys can look forward to David Talks Buffs dropping a video later today, guys. Go subscribe over there. We're on our way to like 14K over there. Dude, you still haven't made your Niners videos? You got to get with it. Ty Johnson fan club, stand up. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm cool with Ty Johnson as well, and he'll probably still be cheaper than a guy like Miles Sanders. But Sanders still is dynamic, man. Everybody wants Ty Johnson. See, Mark, I'm in the same spot as you, man. I drafted Miles Sanders in the first round of fantasy a couple years ago. Absolutely killed me. No, thank you. Yeah, I was burned by Miles, and that man really had some fumble problems, man, out there in Philly. And I guess he hasn't totally solved them, so that is a thing. But at the end of the day, all of our running backs fumbled last year. At least this guy can put on a juke move or find a cutback lane before it develops. And again, he's somebody that can run a wheel route very comfortably out of the backfield. He can run routes out of the slot if you need him to. I think somebody like Sean Payton would get the most out of him as a complimentary back. I know I'm greedy, but if you are talking about a joker, Kyle Juszczyk, now I would prefer to just keep Nate Atkins. I mean, he's like 26 years old. And I still want to see kind of what he can develop into. I mean, he had like 2-3 touchdowns for us this past year, but if we end up doing it, I ain't gonna hate it because he's still playing at a really good level. I mean, wasn't he a second team All Pro this past year? I mean, he's 33 years old. He's a little old. I wouldn't want to sign him for much more than a vet minimum, to be honest. So yeah, again, he's just another versatile piece that you could bring in here. But I've seen kind of Nate Atkins as a lock for this roster, kind of in that same role. But maybe I'm wrong on that. Ducky plays. What's your opinion on Rico Dowdle? I like him. He's been a guy that I've been hoping the Broncos would go after in this draft. Marquee Sports originally put me on to him, and very efficient on a bad Dallas Cowboys team. And again, not like a sexy name, right? But I mean, I think he's a pretty good like all around back. So I would be thrilled to have him here in Denver. Again, we got some of the worst, running back room, or the worst running back room in the NFL. So yeah, I mean, I would be down with it, and I don't think he's going to cost a lot of money. Now, I was assuming with the Dallas Cowboys having Dak restructure that they were going to re-sign guys like Rico Dowdle, and maybe they very well could, but it was kind of strange to see him free up all that money and then just do nothing yesterday except sign Javonte Williams like a $3.5 million deal. What are we doing? Carl, what's a player that has been signed that you wish the Broncos had gotten in on? Dude, I'm going to be honest about this one. Darius Slayton only signing for $12 million for 3 years, man. What the heck? What the heck? I love Darius Slayton as like a complimentary piece, but man, he he's going back to his abuser for a second time. It's like Stockholm syndrome, man. Crazy. And you saw the money that some of these other wide receivers are getting for him to give the Giants a discount. 3 years, 36 million. That's it. And he's still only like 27 years old. Are you kidding me? That I think he left money on the table. But I would have loved Tershawn Wharton out here too, man. But I mean, at that at $18 million, that's insane. That's insane. Rico Dowdle, I would agree with you, Ducky. He does have a higher ceiling at this juncture, which is why I think he'll probably be a little bit more expensive and want a longer term. But hey, again, with what we saw of the running back room this past year, literally any type of move that is made, I'm probably going to be a fan of because it's going to be an improvement. That's why I wasn't going to be upset about a Najee Harris signing, but we don't got to talk about that. I mean, Najee Harris was still better than everybody we had over here. Just get who's ever the cheapest running backs and let the rookies run the show out of the backfield. I'll agree again to an extent. Al Hog. This year kind of changed my opinion, man. I thought that we could do that. Just sign cheap, the cheapest guys out there, whatever. Running backs are a dime a dozen, and then we saw, what's going on right now, man. No, like no shade of Jaleel McLaughlin, but I don't think he's on the majority of 53s in the NFL. Yeah, so I think we need to bring in probably 3 or 4 guys and really have the guys that are returning compete. Hey, it's time to address the interior D-line, 325 pounds plus. I'm not really sure of any other D-line that I would like to go after in free agency. All the targets that I've really talked about have been signed. But good news for you, SoCal Johnson, 84, is that there are plenty of these dudes in the draft. You can get them day 1, day 2, and day 3. So it would be really nice to double up on defensive line in the draft, but I hope we can get one of those guys. Man, I hope, Ducky. I hope so, because I would love us to make a big pitch to Rico Dowdle to get him here. I think that would be great. T Fishes, I find myself watching you guys over DMVR, Perna, Grassi, and Chat Sports Denver. I appreciate the hard work, David, Cody, Martin. Well, thank you. We're developing a fun community out here. Maybe one day I can get Brandon Perna on the show. I mean, that would just be an absolute dream. He's the gold standard with the Broncos. But, I'll say it's about Chat Sports, man. They got the same guys doing the, channels for every team. So I don't even think that guy who does the Broncos channel is even a true Broncos fan, man. Because I see him dropping videos for the Atlanta Falcons, for the Cleveland Browns, for all these guys, man. Hit Y or N in the chat if you think Chat Sports guy is really a Broncos fan or not. But hey, appreciate the kind words. I think Broncos YouTube, we're continuing to get more and more and better content creators out there. I think it's awesome. So hopefully I can collaborate with some of those guys with big channels one day. Tell little Jordan Humphrey to lose weight and play running back since they're adamant about keeping him. We could have like the Cordero Patterson route, right? We could have him do that. Man, guys are hilarious. JLE, instant upgrade, not saying much. That's exactly what I led with. It's like, again, guys, the standard is right down here for like where the running backs have been over the last couple of years with our Broncos, maybe even longer than that. I mean, really since 2021. So yeah, not saying much, but hey, you can give Miles Sanders, $4 million deal, maybe something slightly more than Javonte Williams, because Miles Sanders still has vision. He still has vision, and he can run routes. So probably gets a contract slightly larger than Javonte Williams. But again, man, this penny's on the dollar right now. We with Jarrett Stidham's cap hit in. We'll see what happens with our other three big signings, but we got 35 million. It's going to be less than that, maybe like, 10, 15, 20 million to play with. And that's before we do any of the restructures, contract extensions, cuts on our end. So could be interesting. You guys are hilarious. Yeah, buy my merch. We're down on likes over the past month, man. You guys are hilarious. Let me go ahead and refresh my Twitter just to see if there's anything else. Okay, guys, I gotta ask y'all: do you want Alex Singleton to return at his current cap hit of like $7 million? That one's been an interesting question, that an interesting topic in Broncos country on Twitter. I have seen there are people that are like, "Man, cut this man instantly right now with Drake Greenlaw." I thought Alex Singleton has been a pretty good linebacker for us. And maybe you won't be relying on him as much in coverage, obviously, with Drake Greenlaw here, but you guys want him here? If so, you guys got to give me a name of who you want to fill in. Let me know. Do you want to get younger? I mean, I understand that. I mean, he is 31 years old right now, coming off of an ACL tear. The linebacker money over the past couple days has been insane, but I feel like that's a fair cap hit for where he's at. But for me, if we were to move on from him, I just think that speaks to where they feel like where he's going to be after this ACL, which I don't have an issue with. But I've enjoyed Alex Singleton here, man. Yeah, I like the video if you hate the Chiefs, but that's okay, man. Am I wrong on Alex Singleton? Do we just need to cut him? Is he trash? Do we just need to get rid of him, man? I thought he played really well for us until he was out for the season this past year. But two of those offenses, Seattle, Pittsburgh, they weren't, they're not offensive juggernauts at all. And then, but he did have a good game against Tampa, and he did play that whole game on a torn ACL. But yeah, this is kind of how I feel about it. Draft a guy like Jeffrey Bassa, in the mid rounds from Oregon. He could be the replacement. Maybe Drew Sanders, truly, maybe we bring in another guy on like a 1-year deal and as like a stopgap to see if Lavelle Bailey or Drew Sanders can develop into that second starting linebacker with us. Right. I think it is helpful that he knows the system and all that, but I mean, $7 million. Yeah, we save like what, $4 or $5 million if we cut him. And hey, would you cut Alex Singleton for a Rico Dowdle or Miles Sanders? No. Yes, that's an interesting one. If Drew Sanders can't earn a spot over 55-year-old Alex Singleton coming off an ACL tear by the end of the season, his career is toast. That is savage. Yeah, totally. But man, I want to see what Drew Sanders can do. Again, if Jermaine Sherwood can rebound from his Achilles tear a few years ago and get a big time deal from the Jets, looking plenty fast at that inside linebacker position, why can't Drew Sanders be that guy, right? Yeah, D-Rock, this is a wonderful point. Bro, finish the game without an ACL. Keep him. Now, I mean, he's no John Elway. If he should be playing an entire career without an ACL, right? But all joking aside, yes. T Fish is saying, last year I was going to start an AFC Best or AFC West channel where I talk everything AFC West. I started a fishing channel instead. Huh. Got 1K subs in 3 months and then just stopped. Definitely harder than I thought. Man, YouTube, it truly is a grind, man. It really is. I'll have to subscribe to your channel, T Fishes, when I get off here, man. That's awesome. But hey, I encourage you, if you got to get your opinion out there, go ahead and start it, man. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, schedule, kids, all that getting in the way. All I have to take care of is a dead house plant that me and my wife are slowly regenerating. So, Denver Trav, what's going on, man? Great start to the out, dude. It couldn't have been any more perfect, honestly. Like realistically, this is about as perfect to a start of free agency as we can get. Now, I forgot to say this. Riley Dixon signed with the Bucks, 2 years, $6 million total. Hey, that's fine. Can we get a big booter in here? Can we get a big booter? Just as long as it's not guys that we've had here before. Uh, no Wademan or Wademan. No, who else did we have? That guy that was on the Bills or Browns or something like that. I want a big booter. I want a younger punter. Maybe that guy from Tennessee, right? But he's a restricted free agent. I don't want to give up a draft pick for a punter. No, I think we can find good punting under what Riley Dixon just signed. No, we need a splash on Ingram. Pause. Evan Ingram would be tremendous. Absolutely. I would still love to say, I think it'd be pretty interesting to just say, man, screw it, man. We're not going to sign all these overpriced wide receivers. We're going to sign Evan Ingram to be our big star, and we're going to sign Jawan Johnson to be that more inline tight end who can also play slot and see the development with what happens with our young receiving core. And maybe we draft somebody like Matthew Golden, Alec Eilman, or Jaden Higgins, or maybe in the third round, something like Trey Harris. I'm fine taking a chance on Trey Harris in the third. He needs to improve his route running, right? But I'm cool with taking him there, like round 3 or round 4, or maybe like a Tez Johnson if he falls to round 6. Just because, man, the kid's gonna get open. Tez doesn't bring anything on special teams in terms of like tackling dudes, right? So that kind of sucks. And we already got a great returner in Mims, but let's say Mims turns into Tyreek Hill this year. You probably don't want him back on returns. Tez Johnson theoretically could be somebody like that. But I just don't want to spend a high pick, top 4 round pick on a guy like Tez Johnson who is 155 pounds. I know Tank Dell did it, but that's just me. That's just me. Ryan Stonehouse from Tennessee. Would you draft a punter in the 6th? No. But guys, I'm not scouting punters. Like, I have no idea who's really available at all and how good any of these guys are. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of drafting kickers or punters, man. I'm just not a fan of it. Was it the Bears that used like a 2nd or 3rd round pick on a kicker years ago? Man, that was like 7-8 years ago from Florida State, and he was such a bust, man. It's just not worth it, man. It's just not worth it to me to draft those specialists. Nah, man, nah. If you can't find good undrafted free agent punters and kickers, or just free agent signings of those guys, man, you got something wrong with your scouting department, man. That's how I feel about it. Now, I guess like Sebastian Janikowski, wasn't he a 1st round pick or 2nd round pick? Something stupid. Now, he had like a Hall of Fame career, right? But you never want to use a pick that high. I mean, that is ridiculous. Out of Florida State, the NFL draft in 2000 was the 17th overall pick. That is insane. That is insane. Using the 17th overall. It's such a Raiders move, man. Such a Raiders move. That's crazy. So, yeah, hopefully we can get a tight end. Hopefully today we can get punter, something like that. Maybe we sign another linebacker. Maybe we release somebody. We'll have to see what's going on with free agency today. And, if kind of zoom out and look at the league from more of a larger standpoint, so to speak. I'm very interested to see where Aaron Rodgers ends up. I hope it's the Steelers, man. I think that would be hilarious in terms of the drama with him and George Pickens and DK Metcalf. There'd be a ton of drama there. I think that would be really, really good. Um, any other quarterbacks? Daniel Jones went to the Indianapolis Colts, and I think Mark said that he'll be starting by like week 5. Probably the case. This is Anthony Richardson's last chance. But they also just got to run him more, man. They just got to use him like prime, Cam Newton, or like Cam Newton with the Patriots. You know how Bill Belichick just ran him a ton? That's just what they got to do with Anthony Richardson. The dude's a tank. So, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for your time. Please be sure on the replay. Let me know, man. You want Miles Sanders here? At what price? Be sure to like, subscribe. I'll be back later today if we get any more breaking news with Broncos free agency. And, I'll be back then. Thank you guys so much.